in January and June of the last two run-ups, which occurred, in my opinion, due to executive orders from Presidents Trump and Biden. And that same executive order is coming into play here on June 3rd of 2022. That is probably, in my humble opinion, going to cause very similar reverberations throughout the market as it did during the January and June run-ups of AMC and GameStop and 100 other meme stocks.
Okay, you're gonna have to go. Like, which executive orders do you mean here, man? Because this is not something I've heard of, and I've been deep in this
Well,
stuff.
Executive Order 13959, for example, I could pull it up on my screen if you'd like, but that's
3959.
from President Donald Trump. And it basically states that Chinese military company collateral, around 35 companies, would become worthless on January 28th, 2021. And we all know what happened with GameStop and AMC on January 28th, 2021. They were up 3,000% year to date at that moment. Then they were extended through May 27th. This executive order 13959 from Donald Trump was extended in January by President Biden through May 27th, 2021. And on May 27th, 2021 was the day that AMC moved up, I believe, from $12 to $18. And this continued through June 2nd. On June 2nd, 2021, AMC ran up to $77 and change. That was its all-time high, because on June 3rd, while the market was closed, Biden issued an executive order 14032, I believe. I'll pull that up. And basically, that was just an amendment that added more companies and extended the executive order 13959 by a period of 1 year. So on June 3rd, those guys got a massive bailout. And I actually do have it right here, so I'll pull it up so I give you accurate information. Anybody that wants to can go look it up on their own as well. That executive order was 13959 originally on January 27th. I'm sorry, January 28th and May 27th. And then on June 3rd, 2021, there was executive order 14032 addressing the threat from securities investments that finance certain companies of the People's Republic of China. And what that does was it gave market makers and banks and hedge funds this collateral back. These 35 Chinese stocks from the emerging markets, they were now valid collateral on the stock market again. So that lasted a period of 1 year, and it goes into effect again June 3rd, 2022 of this year.
What?
That means that
June 3rd.
oh, yeah, June 3rd. Also, in addition, I forgot to mention that on February 16th of this year, 2022, the U.S. Treasury made an amendment to this order and added another 35 more companies. So now there's about 70 to 75 Chinese companies that are going to be completely worthless collateral on June 3rd, 2022. And usually that means margin calls, because that's what it meant the last two times, January 28th and May 27th. It's rumored and alleged, actually, through an article that was posted on January 28th of 2021 on mainstream media, that somebody from the White House actually reached out to Virtue Financial, the market maker, and told them to basically halt trades and go position close only on AMC and GameStop. That's the same day of the executive order that basically, destroyed this military collateral. The same thing goes with, May 27th. And again, basically there's a 5-day time period or 6 days from May 27th through June 3rd, in which the stocks continued to trade and trend higher because this executive order made that collateral useless. So that meant that they were getting margin called and delta hedging every single day. So closing out other assets, FangMat stocks, for example, and putting that in crypto and putting that money into, AMC and GameStop, and delta hedging for out of the money call options. And this caused a gamma ramp and fear of missing out from retail and further increasing of the stock. But the reason that it stopped, and some people want to blame, some people have a lot of different blames, but in my opinion, the real reason that the stocks stopped going up and these guys got back their shit collateral was because Executive Order 14032 on June 3rd, 2021, gave them another 365 days to have this collateral back before it comes back into effect and removes all of those companies again. And like I said, now there's over 75 companies on this list. And it's, I think we're going to have a repeat of January and June, except this time because China's invading Taiwan practically. They're not going to back it up. They're not going to continue to push it back. There's no fucking way, in my opinion, with China having leaked audio of actual officials discussing attacking Taiwan and United States forces in the region in the South China Sea. There's no way that they're going to extend this executive order, because it would be like Biden rolling out a red carpet for China to invade Taiwan if this executive order were to be extended.
I didn't know
So,
that there was leaked audio of Chinese officials saying they're going to invade Taiwan. I'm just fucking checking this out here right now, man. You're fucking.
yes, sir.
This is unbelievable education I'm getting here.
That's good, guys. I'm glad to hear that. But I try to keep up on all of this stuff so that, because I
thought
want to
I
know what's
did.
going on next with my investments, man. You know, and I'm sure you do as well. You know, everybody does.
Apparently not. You're schooling me here. This is brilliant.
That's what I'm here for, my friend. That's why they call me the Butcher of Wall Street.
So here it is.
Let's go to fucking work.
DIndia.com. Chinese plans to invade Taiwan.
Yes, sir. It was leaked just a few days ago. There's dozens and dozens of Chinese officials on site. And now, as of about 2 days ago, China is forcing all of their officials to divest themselves of outside property and equities. So Chinese oligarchs cannot be sanctioned in the way that Russians were. And Russians lost over $300 billion to these sanctions. And Russia and China is not about to have the same. So President Xi Jinping has been actively watching the situation and has made it illegal for any Chinese official, their spouse, their family, their kids to own equities outside of the United States, so that they can't be sanctioned when they invade Taiwan.
What? Mm-hmm. So they're not allowed to.
Oh, they have to sell it off. They all have to sell it off right now. There's no choice.
Wait, hang on. So did you mean that they can't own equity outside of China, not outside of the United States?
Correct. No, not outside of China, because they don't want it to get taken, you know, in the European markets and the American markets, etc. So all those Chinese rich people that are officials or brothers or sisters or cousins or wives, maybe not cousins, but wives and sons and daughters of officials are not able to continue to hold American stock. So they're all going to sell off all their stock and treasury bonds and anything else that they might have, real estate properties, yachts, anything they can't bring to China is going to get sold off with a quickness, I might add. And they're not going to get sanctioned and lose billions and billions of dollars the way that Russians did.
Holy shit. So like we're watching that. Didn't expect to swear so much on this one.
It's unfolding.
Yeah. So we're watching
it unfold before our eyes.
So we're literally seeing them prepare for sanctions as if they're about to do something so unbelievably awful that they're expecting this. Right.
And so, the game that America's playing, right?
Yeah. So, but like, can I go back a sec just to make sure I've understood the whole shebang here? So then, what you're saying is that China, that the U.S. government have basically declared all of 75 companies you said now just to be completely worthless, and that they cannot be used as equity or collateral, or it's just like as far as America is concerned, that money has just evaporated, right?
Well, the executive order is going to basically make those companies untradeable.
Okay.
So while in theory, they're still going to maintain their value. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even say that. While in theory, they may maintain their value in the future, most likely in the short term, all of these banks and institutions are going to divest themselves of those stocks before that happens. But the problem is that that's not what happened. They didn't divest themselves. And that's why January and June of last year, there's a Financial Times article where Vanguard and BlackRock stated that they own hundreds of billions of dollars worth of this emerging markets ETF shit. So we know that they haven't sold off all of it, especially because BlackRock just began selling some of it off last month, and they only sold off $370 million worth. This means they still have billions and billions of dollars worth of this junk Chinese collateral in their stock market. And they're decent companies, probably to some extent. But because they're related to Chinese Communist Party and military and technology companies in China, that is a national security threat, according to the administration. just in the same way that Russian companies were and were sanctioned and were removed from the stock market. They're going to be untradeable, and so people's call options, people's put options are going to go completely worthless. A lot of futures contracts on those stocks, and then the shares themselves will most likely lose a lot of value either before, during, or after that time, especially if there's any sort of market crash.
Wow. Okay. So then what happened, you're saying in January and June, and then you're predicting is going to happen again, is that these become worthless. The whatever institutions are holding them start to get margin called, and
Mm-hmm.
then they start dumping other positions. Maybe they're forced to close out some of their short positions. Maybe they're like buying call options or like trying to inflate the price of whatever options contracts they have in order to stay afloat. And basically you're saying that this is just like the tinder at the base of the bomb, basically.
I absolutely believe so. Like, especially the thing is that right now, most oftentimes they're not actually hedging for the call options on AMC and GameStop. But because of these executive orders and the margin calls that are, in my opinion, undoubtedly going to go out to, for example, BlackRock and Vanguard from the DTC, they're going to have to recall shares of heavily shorted companies in order to meet margin requirements as well. So it's either recall shares or sell off assets, and they're going to want to recall their shares first. That means that hedge funds and market makers and broker dealers are going to have to come up with shares that they don't own, specifically market makers and hedge funds and broker dealers that are front running the trades, from dark pools and retail investors. They're going to have to come up with billions and billions of shares that they don't own. For example, BlackRock alone owns 40 million plus shares of AMC that are lent out to companies like Citadel and Virtue and many others out there on the markets as well. And when they start receiving these back, and when these actually start getting purchased in order to delta hedge for some of these calls, it causes and they have to purchase them as well to return them to BlackRock or Vanguard. The price starts to go up, and then market makers and hedge funds will delta hedge even further, because that puts more calls in the money, and which is basically a gamma ramp, and the gamma pushes up further with fear of missing out from retail investors and so on. And I don't want to get into the exact details there, but I would presume that that's exactly what we're going to fucking see: massive margin calls and a short squeeze of a generation, of a lifetime, probably, because don't this is the kind of thing that only happens every few hundreds of years, basically.
Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment for us in the comments below. Let me know what you thought and if you'd like to see more of this from the show. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.